One of these characters is the key to all the lore inside Roblox Forsaken. It could be you. Oh, no, you're dead. So I guess that means it's you. Oh, you're dead too. What about you? Quickly, start the episode so we don't lose the actual answer. Hello, Internet. Welcome to Game Theory, the show that isn't rolling in Robux, but it is rolling in lore. And we got another big one here for you today, folks. After our video on the Roblox game Dandy's World, our subreddit was flooded with other Roblox games suggestions that I should take a look at. And so after several hours of filtering through all of your suggestions, which I'm actually really thankful for, by the way, there was one game that kept coming up again and again, and it definitely piqued my interest. Forsaken. Forsaken is a multiplayer survival game, and it is a smorgasbord of who's who in Roblox history. On the killer side, you have both real Roblox hackers like Cool Kid and rumored hackers like John Doe and 1x1x1x1. And on the survivors team, you've got guys like Builderman, who is actually David Baszucki, the creator of Roblox. You have Shadletsky, a well-known Roblox admin, and Elliot, who is the mascot for a Roblox game Work at the Pizza Place, one of the first and most popular Roblox games. The survivor's goal is to run around the map avoiding the killer until time runs out. And the killer's goal, well, you could probably figure out what their goal is. As a survivor, you can take time off the clock by playing little mini-games that at first look like simple mobile games, but believe me, when you're under the pressure of trying to finish it before a killer comes and gets you, it's a whole other kettle of fish. Try it for yourselves. This goes here, this goes here. Just one more puzzle piece and we can get out of here. Quick, click the subscribe button before the creepy, ugly killer gets us. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Woo! Nice work. Now we've just got to run! But with all of that said, I'm sure many of you are seeing this and making connections between Forsaken and another very popular multiplayer survival game, one where an entity pulls in known serial killers from other horror franchises and sends them in to kill the survivors. Dead by Daylight. You might even be arguing that it's a complete ripoff, but if you did, you'd be missing the most interesting part. In the lobby area, if you talk to one of the NPCs about what game you'd like to play, you can choose the answer, Work at the Pizza Place. And when you do, he brings up this error message. Error code D8. Which seems odd, but I guess that's just what happens when you bother an NPC enough times. However, the more I looked around, the more I realized that this wasn't just a copycat Roblox game. This was an ARG. And it not only spans this game, but a bunch of Roblox profiles, secret games, and other games that at first don't even seem connected. Oh, Dress to Impress would be so proud. And all of this is to tell us a story about what happens when a person pursues power over everything else. Grab a slice of Elliot's Pizza Theorists, because we're gonna need all the help we can get solving the lore of Forsaken. As I've mentioned, all of this starts with the weird error code from one of the NPCs in the lobby. But that isn't the only weird detail in this lobby. In the upper room of the cabin, there is a TV. Clicking on it will reveal the message, your TV has shut down unexpectedly. Error code A2, forced shutdown. Why is an old school TV giving me a shutdown message? This is something you would get from a computer. If a TV like this shut down unexpectedly, it would just shut down, which tells us it's important. And would you take a look at that code it's given us? A2. It's a similar format to our previous code of D8. Something puzzling this way comes, methinks. So let's keep searching. Except there doesn't really appear to be any other codes in the lobby. The only other thing I can see is this photo of the number 4 in one of the other cabins. Feels like a weird, possibly important detail, especially with the NPC standing over it claiming to be investigating it. But it doesn't fit our letter and number format. And outside of that, there just doesn't seem to be any other codes written down. Wait, that lantern, the one that's flickering in the distance, is that flickering just to fit the horror aesthetic? Or is it Morse code? Dash, dot, dash, dot, dot, dash, 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 dash.
Write that down, write that down!
That translates to C1, just like all the other codes we've found. Okay, we have 3, maybe 4 codes. Now what? Well, fortunately, there is a tape recorder next to the lantern that has a very important message for us. Escape this realm and take to heart the things you've learned from every part. In a club unknown, where secrets are sown, recite your tale in the depths alone. So, we need to take these codes and leave this realm. But you can't leave the lobby. There's no other room to go to, unless escaping this realm means leaving Forsaken entirely. In which case, we need to figure out where exactly we go next, and what it means by a club unknown. Taking a page out of another Roblox ARG we've covered on this channel, Dress to Impress, let's check out the creators of Forsaken and see if they have any other games under their belts. One of the devs is called Soul Driven Love, and lo and behold, they've made another game called Buckshot Frenzy. Basically, a Roblox version of Buckshot Roulette. I'm beginning to see a pattern here. Regardless, we've actually talked about Buckshot Roulette on this channel before too, and it takes place in a nightclub, with the description of this game matching that, saying, "Step into the shadowy depths of a club non-liable." This is almost certainly the club unknown referred to by the tape recorder. And when we jump into the game, our suspicions are met with confirmation. On the wall are a set of paintings in a 2x2 grid with faint writing of the letters C, A, D, and question mark, just like the codes we found in Forsaken: C1, A2, and D8. That question mark may even be where the 4 painting we saw comes in. It didn't seem to fit with the format, but it's the only other code we've got, so we might as well try. If you click on each painting the corresponding amount of times to their number, click A2 times, C1 times, D8 times, and the question mark painting 4 times, nothing happens. Until I clicked the small plaque underneath the paintings, and doing that revealed a secret path. Secret tunnel! Secret tunnel! At the end of the hallway is a door, and when we knock, we get a message. A really, really long message. I imagine it's important though, so I am gonna read all of it. But editor, we should probably crank up the speed a bit to get through it all in good time.
Thank you.
How did you get here? Are the rumors really true? You're treading on treacherous ground by digging this deep. It is not my place to judge your choices. My purpose is to simply help you find what you seek, no matter how foolish that may be. I am but a fractured soul, one who dared to stray too close to the sun and paid the price. Still, in my foolishness, I uncovered something it never wanted me to see, something that forced it to put me in this unique kind of eternal hell. I would give that something to you so that you could have a chance of ending this madness. As expected, it took back what was stolen. Yet, as it pulled me into this prison, I caught a glimpse of how it warped the world around it, altering the very fabric of reality. It is not just the environment it changes, but also you. Every step you take brings you closer to its influence, and yet in that influence, there may lie an opportunity. If you can withstand its pressure long enough, even just for 5 minutes, then you may find the clues it leaves behind, pieces of itself that it cannot hide. But know this, you must not hesitate when you find its trail. Follow it with purpose, but be wary of the distortions it creates. They are not what they seem, and they exist to break you. If you survive, then you will have done something I could not. But if you fail, well, let us hope that no one else is foolish enough to try again. Good luck, traveler. Good luck and goodbye. Whew. Boy, that's a lot to take in. It seems that we are being warned about the dangers of investigating the mysteries of Forsaken. The person who was speaking to us did the same, but when they uncovered something, it trapped them. So far, we have no clue what this it is, but as this game is basically Dead by Daylight, I would say it's an entity that is in control of these games, the one that brought us into the Forsaken games to torture us. We're also being told to try and withstand its pressure for 5 minutes. So I hop back into Forsaken and wait 5 minutes, and nothing happens. Great. Now what am I supposed to do? I mean, I do have a bunch of other scripts I could get on with. I'm sure that would make Justin happy. I guess I'll just leave this running and see if anything changes. Well, would you look at that? Guess I needed to be tabbed out to see these messages. That's clever. Right, let's see what they say. You aren't alone here. Leaving is not an option. You can't escape me. A piece for the puzzle awaits you. That last one with all the words put together with no spaces, that doesn't look like a phrase. It looks like a Roblox user ID, just like we saw in Dress to Impress. And if we search that exact phrase in Roblox, we do indeed find an account with that username, a piece for the puzzle. Although apparently their actual name is Julius Caesar, though that isn't even the weirdest part. His about section is just nothing but random letters. Random letters if you're not a theorist. This is our good old friend Base64, and it translates to, this video is sponsored by Raccoon Logic? Oh, duh! They've got a new game coming out on May 8th, Revenge of the Savage Planet. If you're tired of getting yourself killed over and over again by killers of Roblox past, why not take a trip to the have a mother shoot for co-op as well. This easy key, well, into your key, but it will figure out what that code really means. It will not be easy to make me into your key, but it will be all right. You can do it. Make him into a key? Well, he is wearing a giant key on his shirt, so that's gotta be what he's referring to. Clicking on the clothing item to get some more information gives us yet another jumble of letters. Sadly, base 64 didn't work for us this time. But remember when I said he was called Julius Caesar? Well, if we want to make him the key, then it's most likely a Caesar cipher. And boom, by shifting the letters over 12 times, we get this. His name was David. He was far too young to be sentenced to such a painful eternity, but it did not care. It only wanted more power. This basically confirms that the It is absolutely the entity running this game, similar to the entity from Dead by Daylight, taking people and bringing them into Forsaken to torture them for eternity. But with that piece of the puzzle solved, we should probably take a closer look around the page to see if there's anything more. His friend list, for example, looks suspiciously interesting. He has just one friend. Big mood on that one. But that one person is called Not a Piece to the Puzzle, aka Do Not Listen to Me. His About section talks about Julius Caesar, not the character we've talked about, but the real historical figure, and how he used to deceive people. They tell us that relying on Julius Caesar may be fruitful, but we should not trust him, only use him to reach our goals. Maybe this isn't just about the historical figure. Maybe this is a warning that the Julius Caesar character in this ARG isn't trustworthy, and that we should be careful going forward. This account page also has a game of its own called A Piece to the Puzzle's Place. You can try playing this game, but it starts with the question, what is its name? Let me try my name. No. What about Julius? No. David? No. My guess is it is the entity, but we don't have an answer for that, and I'm not entirely sure where to find it. Wait a minute. The title of this game is A Piece to the Puzzle. The account that made it is called Not a Piece to the Puzzle. Does that mean that A Piece to the Puzzle is another account? Let's just have a look. Bingo! Maybe we can find some answers here. There is a long story in this account's bio talking about him falling into depression and what happens when this game's entity drags you into Forsaken. But the main clue is at the bottom, where we can find yet another code. When shifted by 12, it says numbers to user ID is how you get your key. Okay, maybe we put the user IDs into the game. Nope, that didn't work either. So this is likely a key to something else that we're gonna need to search for next. Down in this guy's favorite section is a private game called A Message. We can't play the game because, well, it's private, but it does have another detailed description, and given this is an ARG, that is obviously way more fun. It continues the story from the About section, how the entity put this person through, quote, the games of hell. They mention a guy in a hockey mask killing them, and that they caught a break in a beachside forest.
Oh, there. Was my mic not? I don't think my mic was working this whole time. Oh my god, I hate myself. Thing is, I think hockey mask means Jason. Jason is a mask, but I've not watched anything about Jason, so I don't know about the Beachside Forest.
Clearly, Jason in Forsaken and the beachside forest in the lobby. Whoever this guy is, he's trying to tell us about this world, how they got in, and maybe how they can help us and everyone else trapped here get out. But looky here, at the bottom of the message there are some numbers for a user ID, 7749074101, or as they're actually known, Friday_TQIMEFKXQD. And this is where the story of our trapped friend comes to an end. They grew numb to the torment, and so the entity tore this person apart. It was then that they began to study this entity, naming it the Spectre. So we now have our name for the entity, and we also got something else. You may have noticed the account name. It's a little odd, right? I mean, maybe the user just wanted the account name Friday, and Roblox was like, Friday has already been taken. May I suggest Friday_TQIMEFKXQD? But what's more likely is those jumbled up letters are just another cipher. So going back to our trusty Caesar cipher and shifting the letters by 14, we get the phrase, he was Tyler, the name of the person that was dragged down into Forsaken, tortured, and then ceased to exist was Tyler. And based on what he left at the bottom, Tyler has been here for 200 years. With all this new information, I have a feeling we can now answer the questions in a piece to the puzzle's place. What is its name? We now know it's Spectre. And upon answering that, we get some more questions about the Spectre. The next question is, what is it made of? And we don't really have an answer for this, but I do not have the energy to go on another scavenger hunt, so instead, let's turn to the thing I always do in times of need during an ARG. The community that is so smart, they figured it out already. All the links will be in the description. These guys figured out that the answer is the word code, which I guess makes sense. The Spectre is part of a Roblox game, and so is code. Plus, the killers of this game, besides Jason, are all Roblox hackers. And what the hackers work in? Code. The next question is, what does it seek? Which we know from Julius Caesar's account is power. Next are a bunch of questions about Tyler. Who was he? What did he call the trials? How long has he been here? Again, all stuff we learnt about during our adventures. His name was Tyler, they were games of hell, and he was there for 200 years. But then we get asked some personal questions, like, do we feel safe? Do we know what we're getting ourselves into? And the final question, will we keep searching, even though it's foolish? Being the theorists that we are, naturally the answer is yes. And that gives us one more code. Although this time, we're actually given a hint as to how we're supposed to solve it. Numbers lead where letters stray. A shifting cipher guides the way. A sibling to Caesar, clear yet sly. What is my name? Give it a try. A sibling to Caesar. So a cipher that works similarly to a Caesar cipher. A Caesar cipher is just a shift in letters, so we need another cipher that shifts letters. A Vigenère cipher is similar in how a keyword can be used to tell the cipher how to shift, but that would require a keyword. It asks us what is his name, so we could put not a piece to the puzzle, but that comes up empty. And then there's numbers lead where letters stray. Does that mean the key isn't a word, but a number? That would mean it's not a Vigenère cipher, it's a Gronsfeld cipher. Wait, remember that other clue we got? Numbers to user ID is how you get your key? We didn't need the name of not a piece to the puzzle, the person who made the quiz. We needed his ID number, and that would make the key. Gotta say, nice job. Love it when all the pieces come together like that. So we put not a piece to the puzzle's ID number as the key to the Gronsfeld cipher, and we're in. Wash your hands on the second floor. Blue means 1, red means 2, brighter shades increase the value by 2. How incredibly vague and cryptic. Not exactly sure what I was expecting at this point, but still. There's also no obvious place to wash your hands in Forsaken.
I don't know if you read your Bible, but I'm afraid it's damnation without relief.
But there was somewhere else we visited that does have sinks. Buckshot Frenzy. If you die in one of the games, you wake up in the bathrooms of that floor. So die on level 2, go to wash your hands, and on each sink, the tap will have hot and cold circles on them. The code we have was that blue means 1 and red means 2. Some of them have lighter shades of blue or red, which means we increase the value to 3 or 4, which gives us the final code of 14321232. So what do we do with this? Well, if we backtrack through our journey a bit, we can see that a piece of the puzzle wasn't the only person with a game. Julius Caesar also has a game creatively titled A Piece for the Puzzle's Place. Just like the previous quote-unquote game, we are met with a text box that asks us to enter a code. The code we just got from the Buckshot sinks. Entering that code lets us play 2 files. One is just the victory music from Forsaken, and the other is a message called congratulations.ogg.
Hey, hey, if you're hearing this, then good job. This is kind of where the trail ends for now. Maybe come back in a few months, maybe like February.
So I guess here is where the Forsaken ARG ends, for now at least. Although it is April and there is still no update. Knowing my luck, the update will drop right as this video does. However, just because the ARG is done doesn't mean that I am. There's still one thing I have yet to decode. After our quiz, we got that long code that we decoded with the Gronsfeld cipher, but there was a separate code at the end that the Gronsfeld cipher couldn't translate. It does translate though when you put it through a standard Caesar cipher. He was Elliot. With he was Tyler being the code given at the end of Tyler's long story, and with this coming at the end of the quiz, that would imply that Elliot is the one questioning us with this quiz. But Elliot isn't just any old name. It's the name of one of the survivors you can play as. I would be surprised if the devs used this name twice. It would just make things really confusing, which means the survivor Elliot is somehow involved in this wider story. And I think I know how, because this quiz isn't actually the first time we've spoken to him. At the beginning of this ARG, we had a very long message of how someone became trapped after being foolish and getting too close. They use the word foolish again near the end of the speech, hoping that no one else will look deeper into the entity. And what do we see in this quiz? The one we believe to be Elliot speaking to us? The last question asks, will you continue searching even though you know how foolish that is? It's the same language. Elliot warned us about going down this path of trying to discover the entity, and at multiple points is warning us about how foolish it is. But he also gave us one other warning. During his massive monologue, he references a Greek myth. I guess that's just part of the new indie horror checklist these days. Specifically, he talks about flying too close to the sun, which is a reference to Icarus doing the same thing with his wax wings. But he also talks about being locked away by the entity in a unique kind of hell for stealing something. That reminded me of another Greek myth, a myth about a god who betrayed Zeus during the war against the Titans, and as a result, they were stripped of their wings and sent to Tartarus, the underworld where the god's enemies were tortured. That god's name was Ark, and they were a messenger god, just like Elliot is delivering messages to us to help guide us against the godlike being of this world, the Spectre, now locked away in a torturous type of hell. However, in that story, there are actually two messenger gods, Ark and their sibling, Iris. Iris remains sided with the gods, and actually has a plant named after them, Siberian Iris, which has a suspicious nickname, Brother of Caesar, Caesar's sibling, just like we were shown in the ARG. If Elliot is the one who went against the god of this world, the Spectre, then whoever is playing the role of Iris, they are still sided with the godlike being
So
Spectre.
if he's trapped, is that what it means by in-game when he says he got trapped here while delivering a pizza?
And we actually have a second messenger in our game. A second person giving us info that claims to be on the side of good, Tyler. We have been trusting Tyler and using his information to get closer to solving this ARG, but I suspect he may not be what he seems. So when the ARG returns, be careful how much you listen to him, because if I'm right, he's gonna keep sending us down this rabbit hole until we, like him, are going to be stuck in a constant cycle of torture. Or the ARG will never update and I'll be stuck in a different cycle of torture, not getting any more lore, and that is arguably much worse. But hey, that's just a theory. A game theory! Thanks for watching. World premiere on Game Theory. What started as a simple April Fool's update has now become 4 months of nearly daily updates.
We do not get. So I didn't really get much info about the
Characters key to all the lore inside Roblox
guy.
Forsaken.
This guy.
One of
So I'm gonna watch these two, since these pretty much are the killers and the.
Noob is a depict.
So let's hear this.
Noob is a depiction of the iconic Roblox noob. In the game, he is described as a big snack person at heart with a handful of food items, unbothered, innocuous, and full of joy. Noob is a survivalist and all of his abilities are only useful for himself and can't be used to help other survivors. He has 3 simple abilities: a Bloxy Cola that gives him a slight speed boost, a Slate Skin Potion that makes him impervious to attacks for a short time, and a Ghost Burger that makes him mostly invisible. Noob used to be an outgoing and cheerful Robloxian, although he wasn't very good at making friends. His closest friend was Guest666, but after an unknown incident, they no longer talked to each other. This caused Noob's personality to shift completely, and he's now quieter and more withdrawn. During a round, he can be seen with a scared expression on his face that turns into crying when he is badly injured. He also stutters a lot when interacting with other survivors due to how scared he is. He doesn't have any special stats like some of the other survivors. He just has 100 health, 100 stamina, and his speed goes from 12 to 24 when sprinting. Elliot is based on an employee and mascot at work at a pizza place. In the game, he is described as Builder Brothers' best employee who wants to help any way he can. Due to his previous experience at Builder Brothers Pizza, he is very dedicated to helping out other survivors. He's a support survivor who can heal the other survivors. He has 4 abilities. Order Up is a passive ability that increases how much he heals by 5%. Deliverer's Resolve allows Elliot to see any survivor that was recently injured. Elliot can also throw a slice of pizza in front of him that heals any survivor who picks it up. And in return, Elliot's last ability Rush Hour charges up, and when fully charged, he gets a massive speed boost, unlike other survivors. Despite having the ability to heal others, Elliot chooses not to heal himself, because he wants to save his pizza for those who need it. Other survivors can interact with Elliot and ask him for a slice of pizza, but 007 and 7 is the only one where Elliot replies back. This is because 007 and 7 is the only survivor Elliot hates. Back when Elliot worked at Builder Brothers Pizza, 007 and 7 would continuously bring his adopted son, Cool Kid, just so he could bring chaos to Elliot's pizzeria. Eventually, Elliot grew tired of the constant havoc and permanently banned both of them from the pizzeria. Despite all the problems 007 and 7 caused in the past, Elliot is still willing to give 007 and 7 a slice of pizza whenever he asks for it. Elliot only has 80 health, which is the least out of every other survivor. But besides that, his stats are the same as Noob's. 2-time. Before explaining 2-time, the developers have confirmed that a complete rework of his character is coming soon because his initial release was unfinished. So depending on when you see this section may be outdated. 2-time is a survivalist who is described as a fragile cultist holding a horrible secret. He believes he's a shadow, and he feels guilty for betraying Azur, a close partner he had while in a cult. The cult believed in respawning and resurrection, hence why 2-time says shadows die twice, and why his name is 2-time. While 2-time and Azur were in the cult, 2-time became demented over time until he stabbed and killed Azur with a dagger, believing it to be a necessary sacrifice for the cult, though he later regrets doing this and apologizes for killing Azur. However, Azur resents him for doing this, and Azur is confirmed to be coming to the game soon. 2-time only has one move in the game. When he dies, he is reborn with 40 health, but his max health increases to 110 instead of 80. Besides the health change, his stats are also the same as Noob's. His appearance also changes to showcase his respawn. During a round, he has a straight face for most of the round, but after dying and respawning, his expression turns more manic as he smiles. He keeps his smile even when at low health, and doesn't frown until he dies. His body is also covered in spawn points, with him having a spawn symbol on his chest, and his tail being made of parts of the symbol. He also grows a pair of wings that are also made from parts of the spawn symbol, and the spawn on the chest glows white upon respawning. 2-time also gives all the other survivors off-putting feelings. Whenever interacting with them, he always tries to bring up his cult. Builderman is based on the actual Roblox CEO, and in the game, he is the boss and creator of Roblox. He is a support survivor who uses his past experiences working at the HQ to help build machines that can help survivors either escape or heal. He only has 2 abilities, but they are very useful. Sentry Construction builds a sentry that slows down and damages the killer, and Dispenser Construction builds a dispenser that heals other survivors around it. The only issue with these is Builderman is vulnerable when building them, and if he is attacked while building, the machines will be destroyed. He used to be able to throw cakes to heal players, but that was later removed when Elliot was forsaken. Because he only supports other survivors, he only has 90 health, but besides that, all of his other stats are the same. During a round, he has a disappointed expression until he gets heavily injured, then his expression changes to stressed. Builderman's not as scared of the killers as other survivors are. He was responsible for banning Guest666. Builderman and Shedletsky are not only friends, but they also made a silent promise to try their best to protect the other survivors. Builderman is also the shortest and most wealthy of all the survivors. Shedletsky is based on a very iconic retired admin who used to work for Roblox. In the game, he is described as an important figure in Roblox history and the wielder of a historical linked sword. He is a Centennial survivor previously known for hosting a chicken eating contest and for being a really good sword fighter. Now he devotes his life to defending the other survivors. He has two abilities. Slash allows him to cut the killer with his linked sword, stunning them long enough for other survivors to escape, but also slowing Shedletsky down in the process. Shedletsky can also eat fried chicken to heal himself, but he doesn't have any extra, so he can only use this move twice. Shedletsky is also the wielder of the 7 sword fight on the Height swords, but he doesn't use them in Forsaken. His biggest enemy is 1x1 because 1x1 is the embodiment of Shedletsky's hatred. 1x1 wants nothing more than to kill Shedletsky, and because of this, Shedletsky is always wary of him. If 1x1 and Shedletsky are the only 2 people left at the end of the round, a custom themed title creation of Hatred will play. He never told any of the survivors he personally knows 1x1 because he fears they would no longer trust him. Given his past, he sympathizes for 007 and 7, since they both regret decisions they have made in the past, but he chooses to stay quiet. He also calls Dusseker Matt because he knew Dusseker personally. Dusseker was the second Roblox employee. All of his stats are the same as Noob's. During a round, he has a serious expression which then turns to a pained expression if he is heavily injured, and if he lands a successful cut on the killer, he grins momentarily. 007 and 7. 007 and 7 is a survivalist based on an infamous hacker in the Team Cool Kid group. He was responsible for creating the Cool Kid account and the Cool GUI, which he would use to hack popular games like Work at a Pizza Place. In the game, he is described as previously infamous for exploits, but had a change of heart after gaining a son, but because of a series of unfortunate events, he lost him. 007 and 7 was able to bring a small copy of the Cool GUI with him when he was Forsaken. His 3 abilities start off with Clone, which allows him to use his exploits to create a clone of himself that lasts for 10 seconds. Cool GUI allows him to teleport to the survivor's spawn location farthest away from him, and Inject allows him to change the movement of his clones. He has the same stats as Noob. In Forsaken lore, 007 and 7 found a baby Cool Kid in a box and adopted him. This led to him retiring from hacking, but his retirement didn't stop his son from causing chaos, mainly at Builder Brothers Pizza, which caused them both to be blacklisted. When interacting with the other survivors, he is very nervous because they all know his past. Every survivor except for Guest 1337 and Chance dislike 007 and 7. If he and Cool Kid are the last people left at the end of the round, a special theme play is named Plead. If 007 and 7 is killed by Cool Kid, he may gently lay him down on the ground instead of throwing him. Cool Kid also has custom voice lines when he kills 007 and 7. 007 and 7 elsewhere. The actual person behind 007 and 7 has played Forsaken, but he doesn't understand why people care about 007 and 7 and Cool Kid so much since he hasn't played Roblox in over a decade. He's a strong and brave warrior who saves innocent lives. He's described in the game as a hardened veteran who has a tendency to sacrifice himself in order to keep those around him safe. He has 4 abilities. Made to Last gives him 15 health, making him 115 health instead of the normal 100. This is the only change in his stats, and like almost every survivor here, they're the same base stats as Noob. Block slows him down, but in return, he gets invincibility, and if the block was successful, he gets a slight speed boost. Charge allows him to dash forward, and if he hits a killer, the killer is knocked back and can't use any abilities for a short time, while Guest 1337 gains invincibility momentarily. With Punch, he can hit the killer to stun them or parry and attack. The lore for Guest 1337 is mostly the same as the last Guest until the end. In Forsaken lore, instead of faking his death after his sacrifice, he actually does die and ends up in the Forsaken realm. During a round, he has an angry and determined expression on his face, and when heavily injured, it turns into a tired expression. Guest 1337 is very altruistic and will do anything to keep other survivors safe. Like Builderman, Guest 1337 is not as scared of the other killers. He is also one of the strongest survivors in Forsaken, along with Shedletsky. Chance. Chance is a Sentinel survivor and the personification of a gambling addiction. He is also the first and only survivor to be an IRL plushie. Chance has 5 abilities. Unpredictable Fate makes him start the round out with max health from 70 to 90. He can flip a coin.
Hey, look at Discord, I sent you something. Alright.
And if it lands on heads, all
Alright. Well, back to Forsaken lore.
All of his other abilities will charge, but if it's Tails, he gets a weakness debuff, and it stacks. Shoot is one of those abilities that the coin can charge. It is a flintlock and has a 25% chance to explode, dealing 45 damage to Chance and disabling the move permanently. It also has a 25% chance to not go off, and the remaining 50% chance stuns any killer that gets shot for 1 to 5 seconds. Another chargeable move is Reroll, which changes his max health to a value from 50 to 130. His last move, Hat Fix, resets all his weakness debuffs back to 1 if they were stacked, and removes all the charges on his other abilities, also fixing the Flintknock if it was exploded. He starts the round off with a smug expression that quickly changes to a nervous expression if he is below 50% health. Chance is the most unique survivor in the game, with him having a passive and 4 abilities. He is also the only survivor who can willingly change his max health. The variety in his max health also makes him technically the survivor with the lowest and highest max health. In the Forsaken lore, Chance and Eye-Trapped are buddies, and Eye-Trapped is an upcoming killer. The way they became buddies is explained in Chance's lore, but it is currently being remade, so as of now, them being buddies is the only thing confirmed. As to why Eye-Trapped is an upcoming killer, he was the main exploiter behind the 2012 incident and tried to crash the Roblox economy. Dusecr. Dusecr is a support survivor based on Matt Dusek, a retired Roblox technical director and chief architect. As mentioned previously, he was the second employee to be hired at Roblox. Not much is known about his personality or any traits in Forsaken. His expressions during a round are also hidden because of the giant pumpkin he has on his head. He has 3 abilities. One of them lets him levitate off the ground to hide the sounds of his footsteps. Spawn Protection allows Dusecr to cast a protective shield around another survivor for 8 seconds. This shield makes the survivor highly resistant to attacks. Dusecr can also use his staff to shoot a plasma beam, which will slow him down but also slow down the killer if they are hit. Hitting a survivor with the plasma beam will give them a slight speed boost for 4 seconds. Dusecr rhymes very often and is very spiritual. Shedleski is the only survivor to refer to Dusecr by his first name, but Builderman, despite hiring him, never does. Dusecr had a lot of new features when he was released. He was the first survivor to be released after Forsaken was released. He was the first survivor to have a ranged ability that can go in every direction. He was the first survivor to have special effects come out of his main skin. And he's the first 5-star difficult survivor. He has 90 health, and when he dies, the orange orb glowing with fire falls out. Taff. Taff is the newest survivor added to Forsaken. Prior to being Forsaken, he was a demolitionist who served admins, one of them even being Builderman. He destroyed the homes of users who were terminated and reused the parts for building new homes. He was then hunted down by angry protesters because he couldn't confirm if the terminations were accidental but destroyed the homes anyway. This caused him to lock inside his home with traps in case any of the protesters found him. Now Forsaken, he is described as a mute demolitionist who used to blow up and destroy the houses of terminated users at the will of Builderman. He is the first trapper survivor. He makes traps for the other killers so that the other survivors can escape. He has 2 abilities. He can place a tripwire on the ground that slows down the killer and tells the other survivors where the killer is. He can also place a subspace trip mine that goes invisible after placing it. When a killer stands close to it, it detonates, and the killer will be unable to use any of their abilities, and their vision will be very dark and pinkish for 5 seconds. Taff will also have his vision altered if he is close to the subspace trip mine as it detonates. If the killer knows where the subspace trip mine is before running into it, they can use a ranged attack to trigger it, and will only receive a slight change to their vision for a few seconds. Since Taff is mute, he communicates with the other survivors using gestures and hand signals, but his chat messages use emojis so players can tell what he's saying. His face is also shadowed by the hood and mask he wears. He knows some of the survivors, but they don't know him. He was previously responsible for blowing up their houses when they mysteriously vanished. He thinks he is Builderman's right-hand man because of all the work he did for him, but he's just parasocial. Taff was originally going to release on March 29th, but was delayed by a day because the Forsaken Discord got nuked. All his stats are the same, except he only has 90 max health. If you like this video, you will definitely like this video featured on screen. Make sure you guys subscribe because the next video will be covering the killers of Forsaken.
Alright, so for this one, I'm going to be only watching the first 4 since the first 4 are the only ones actually in Forsaken. So, yeah.
Jason is the only killer in the game not based on something Roblox related. He is based on Jason from Friday the 13th, but his design is based on Jason from the old Roblox game Survive and Kill the Killers in Area 51. He's one of the only killers inspired by a horror movie. The other is Slenderman, an upcoming killer. Jason is the first killer players use when joining the game because he's free. He is described as a savage and ruthless killer whose identity is concealed by a crude hockey mask, wielding various tools and driven by a thirst for a cat and mouse chase. He has 5 moves. Mute makes his terror radius smaller than other killers. He can slash his machete and it does 20 damage and causes the survivor to bleed. He can also swing his machete toward a survivor's head, dealing 20 damage and making the survivor helpless. This also makes Jason slow for a couple of seconds. Gashing Wound is a combination of slashes that in total does 50 damage. Raging Pace makes Jason walk slower for 14 seconds, but in return, he can see where the nearest survivor is and he is immune to stuns. He also goes into an enraged state, which buffs all of his previous moves. Jason is the only killer without any ranged attacks, since he just carries a machete. While attacking, Jason hears his mother's voice guiding him. He is also fueled by Rage and Vengeance. He has 1250 health, 9 walk speed, 28 sprinting speed, and 110 stamina. If you can't tell by his insane stats already, he has the second highest health in the game, and he's the fastest killer in the game as well. Jason is also one of only 2 survivors in the game who get stronger on a specific date. When it is Friday the 13th, Jason's moves do more damage and he runs faster, but his stamina is reduced to 80 and his moves have a longer cooldown. Cool Kid is the first killer most people buy, because players usually get enough points quickly, because he costs 900 player points. He is based on the actual Cool Kid exploiter who used to terrorize games like Work at a Pizza Place before he was terminated. I have talked a lot about Cool Kid before in videos like this, so I won't go into much detail about who Cool Kid actually was overall. In the Forsaken lore, he is the adopted son of 007 and 7. He's described as an adopted son from a single father with childlike curiosity, but with the strength of a monster. He has a fleshy body and most of his bones are visible through his skin. He also has an unnerving smile. He has 4 moves. He can do a regular punch that deals 26.5 damage. Corrupt Nature allows him to launch a projectile, and if it hits the survivor, they take 15 damage and are slowed down. Cool Kid can also see where they are for 10 seconds. Walk Speed Override allows Cool Kid to dash in one direction, though he can't move out of the way and could run into a wall, stunning him. If he does hit a survivor while dashing, they take 25 damage and start burning for a couple of seconds. Pizza Delivery is Cool Kid's last move. He summons 2 pizza delivery bots, who seek out the closer survivors, also dealing 15 damage on contact, burning the survivor, slowing the survivor down, and revealing their location to Cool Kid. Cool Kid is only 10 years old in Forsaken, and he was a pill baby abandoned at birth until 007 and 7 found him. He retired from hacking and adopted him. Due to his age, Cool Kid has no idea he is killing or injuring people. He believes everyone is just playing around, and when they die, he thinks they're just sleeping. Cool Kid is also the only killer based on a real exploiter. He is currently the only killer with voice lines without having to use his skin. He also has custom voice lines when killing Elliot, Guest 1337, Noob, and 007 and 7. He has the most voice lines for 007 and 7. Cool Kid has 800 health, 7.5 walk speed, 28 sprint speed, and 110 stamina. His sprint speed is tied with Jason's, so they're both the fastest killers when sprinting. John Doe is based on the infamous urban legend about the original John Doe. John Doe was the second Roblox user to join Roblox as a test account, and there was an urban legend stating he would destroy Roblox on March 18th, 2017. Though if you know, this never happened. He has remained an iconic part of Roblox ever since. The Forsaken version of John Doe has fused himself with old defunct Roblox code, and he's described as an unstoppable force who will kill anyone in his path, and he is determined to destroy Roblox. John Doe's right eye, entire right arm, right shoulder, half of his left arm, and feet are all corrupted by the defunct Roblox code. John Doe has 6 moves. Every step he takes leaves behind a trail of corruption that makes any survivor who steps on it corrupted for 3 seconds. Unstoppable is a passive that makes John Doe only able to be stunned for a maximum of 2 seconds, and after the stun ends, he gets a slight speed boost. John Doe can also slash survivors with one of his corrupted arms to deal 28 damage. Corrupt energy happens when John Doe punches his corrupted arm into the ground and pulls it out, causing 26 giant spikes to emerge in front of him, and he gets a slight speed boost. The spikes do 12 damage and last for 14 seconds each. John Doe can also stomp on the ground 3 times to cause a digital footprint. This digital footprint is not like the digital footprint of someone who does something bad and gets cancelled for it, but it rather causes the shadow to emerge underneath John Doe's feet, and it traps any survivors that walk over it, revealing their location. They also get corrupted and slowed down for 10 seconds. John Doe can place 3 of these at a time, and they have a maximum lifespan of 165 seconds. 404 Era is John Doe's last move, and it reveals the location of all survivors to him for 4 seconds. John Doe is the only other killer besides Jason who gets stronger on a specific date. All of his moves are buffed drastically on March 13th. Despite his right arm looking strong from the large amounts of corruption, he doesn't use it because it's heavy and inconvenient. John Doe is the only killer to have another killer be scared of him. Cool Kid is scared of John Doe because 007 and 7 told him stories about John Doe. John and Jane Doe are a married couple, but after becoming corrupted, he no longer recognizes her. Jane Doe is also an upcoming character. Jane Doe was another test account added alongside John Doe, so she was often included in the urban legends about John Doe. John Doe costs 1000 player points, has 1500 health, 9 walk speed, 27.25 sprint speed, and 110 stamina. He has the highest amount of health in the game. 1x1x1x1 is based on the urban legend that started in 2007 when the original account was created. For the sake of yours and my own sanity, I will refer to him as 1x1 throughout this explanation. 1x1 was rumored to be a 4th dimensional being who hated Roblox for being 3-dimensional and vowed to destroy it, but he was actually just a test account Shedletsky had made. In Forsaken, he is known as the personification of all of Shedletsky's malice and negativity. Despite him being created by Shedletsky, he hates Shedletsky more than anything else. If Shedletsky and 1x1 are the only people left during a round, a special theme titled Creation of Hatred will play. Shedletsky is also the person he kills during his intro cutscene. He has 6 moves. Parasitic is a passive that makes any player damaged by him glitched and poisoned. He can swing his sword in front of him, and if it connects with a survivor, it does 20 damage. Mass Infection allows him to wind up both his swords and slash them horizontally, creating a shockwave that lasts 6 seconds and does 35 damage. Entanglement allows him to wind up both his swords again, but this time he throws them and they last 10 seconds and have a speed of 125 studs per second, which if you didn't know is really fast. If they hit a survivor, they deal 10 damage, give 1x1 a speed boost, reveal the survivor's location, and force the survivor to stop moving or do anything until they complete a minigame, where they have to collect 5 pop-ups on their screen. Unstable Eye happens when 1x1 digs into his eye and pulls it out, making him temporarily blind but also revealing the location of all survivors. Rejuvenate the Rotten is his last move. He stabs himself with his swords, and after pulling them out, they resurrect any players he has killed in the form of rotten zombies that serve him. These zombies wander around until they get within 30 studs of another survivor, and then they target them. They deal 14 damage to other players, and they themselves have 10 health. Despite them serving 1x1, he can still kill them, which gives him a slight speed boost. He is the most expensive killer, costing 1,250 player points, and he's also the slowest killer with a walk speed of only 8 and a sprint speed of 27. He has 1,100 health and 110 stamina. Before we discuss the leaked, upcoming, and unreleased killers, comment below your killer main, or survivor main if you will. I'm trying to prove a point to something. And while you're at it, hit the subscribe button. Anyway, Noli is an upcoming killer and set to be the 5th killer to come to Forsaken.
I'll react to Noli just because it's literally gonna be the one literally coming soon.
Being an upcoming character, his actions and motives for killing survivors are unknown. Noli is based on the extremely popular and very old Roblox urban legend with the same name. His story and origins are mostly unknown, so there are multiple different interpretations of him, but they all have one thing in common: his Void Star. The Void Star is Noli's signature item. In Forsaken, his appearance has him wearing the Void Star. He also has a Void Star that he carries along with him. He also wears a tragedy mask on the right side of his head. He also appears to have glowing eyes and a mouth under the mask. The right side of his body is a solid black, but the left side is decaying, revealing a purple fleshly body underneath, with the left side of his body being a skull. He has 5 moves, but keep in mind he hasn't been released at the time of this video, so all of these moves are subject to change. 5th sequence increases Noli's stamina loss and his stamina gain. He will also always be sprinting, and his stamina can go into the negatives, but doing so will cause his vision to get progressively more black, purple, and jittery. Noli can also use his Shadow Tendril to stab a survivor and deal damage. Star Driven occurs when Noli charges his Shadow Tendril and charges forward. If the hit connects with the survivor, they take damage and Noli recovers some of his stamina, while also being able to use Star Driven a second time. If the hit connects again for the second time, the survivor is slammed onto the ground and takes more damage, but if Noli misses, then he is stunned. Implant is a trap where Noli places a Void Star trap, and when a survivor walks near it, it explodes. Noli can also manually detonate it. If he dashes and places the trap on a survivor instead, then he can turn them into a walking bomb. Hallucination is Noli's last move, and he can give all survivors around him a hallucination that makes the survivors go insane for a short amount of time. Noli will also have voice lines, being the second killer to get voice lines for their default skin. Noli's stats are subject to change, but currently he costs 1100 player points, has 1111 health, 35 sprinting speed, and 90 total stamina. Noli has no walk speed as he only sprints, making him by far the fastest killer in the game. King is an upcoming killer, and he's based on a mini-boss from Combat Initiation.
So I just want to see, what other killers does he talk about? Guess666 is an admin character, I believe. There's Jeff the Killer, there's Azur, Sonic.exe, Doombringer, Zombie King, Cool Killer, Draco Bloxer, Fuzzorus? Who are you? The Masked and the Decayed.
In them, and his weapon of choice is the
And then there's that name. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, so that's pretty much all the main Forsaken stuff. From the empty base plate and oh. $19.19 the Rizzler. So let's.
Rizzler is an upcoming killer who originates from a YouTube series about a creepy knee, and he's using a wrench because he's missing his axe. Both of their stats and moves have not been revealed. The Rizzler is an upcoming killer who originates from a YouTube series about a creepypasta. The Whistler could kill players and destroy any game it's in. In Forsaken, it appears as a shadowy and elongated figure, and its body distorts itself into various formats.
Alright, well, I'm done with this.